wish there was a real campfire here.
I'm kind of glad there's not a real campfire here because we're kind of inside. Anyways, welcome to episode 20-something, 24?
Yeah, that's what we have down.
I don't know. Who cares?
Yup.
Welcome to this week's Thought Patrol. I know we haven't done one in a few weeks. I feel like every time we haven't done this, we're kind of behind schedule. But we're here now, and that's all that matters.
Live.
We're going to talk about a lot of things happened this weekend in the entertainment world. Avengers Endgame came out. We're going to talk about that. If you haven't seen it, first of all, what's wrong with you?
Right?
Go see it. But then also, episode 3 of Game of Thrones came out, and everyone knew that this was going to be the big one.
This is the third episode ever?
No. Episode 3 of season 8. So the new season is halfway over. We're not really going to talk about that too much. I'm not going to get into any spoilers because that's obviously came out like 3 hours ago. We're going to try to do an episode during the week, kind of talking Game of Thrones to give everyone some time to watch it. But we're going to talk kind of in depth with Marvel and Endgame. So if you haven't seen it, maybe come back to this video later.
Watch out. Spoilers.
But first, I want to go on a mini rant.
Uh-oh.
Oof.
I'll put my microphone away.
Yeah, everyone just log off. Goodbye. No, this isn't about taxes or about why Pizza Hut should pay for the roads. Did you watch my Snapchat story of me describing to the Uber driver?
I think it was kind of quiet. I was out at the bar myself, so,
Yeah.
I like kind of heard it a little bit, and I was like,
I was explaining to this guy, he kind of brought up something like slightly political.
all right. What?
And I kind of was like, I'm not going to tell you who like I voted for, but I voted for one of the two. And then he's like, yeah, I'm a libertarian. I'm like, I am too. And then like I kind of started almost like asking him like libertarian questions. I'm like, hey, what do you think about like kind of stuff that like me and Robert talk about? And he basically wasn't libertarian at all. And I kind of like started grilling him a little bit.
Oh, he said librarian. Oh.
No, and I'm like and I'm explaining to him my idea about how like I always use pizza restaurants. I don't know why, but as like the people who would pay for the roads. Obviously, it wouldn't be Pizza Hut versus Domino's. It could be. Oh yeah, why not?
Domino's did start fixing potholes, so
That's kind of, and they put like their logo on the pothole. That's basically this, but on a grander scale.
Imagine
That's
a
my
whole
idea.
like graffitied street of like advertisements. That's the whole like that's what the future is always like. Well, the future now we're in the future, but it's kind of like that. A lot of the movies in the 90s would like estimate the future is going to be where like you could have a shirt on, but it's got all these advertisements all over it, even though it's just like a regular everyday shirt, not you're not like you're a star or something. I could picture that.
I don't know. I was kind of grilling him, and then I kind of explained to him. Maybe I'll explain one day my idea for paying for the roads on the podcast, and I don't think he necessarily understood it. And I think it's actually pretty well thought out. Who knows? Either way, it was a funny Snapchat.
All right.
A few people are like, what the hell?
I was watching your Super Smash Brothers levels that shouldn't be designed.
Super Smash Brothers World Creator is getting out of hand. And it's only been out for like 3 days. Either way, here's my rant. I did a Marvel Cinematic Universe trivia contest tonight.
I did just see your status about this.
Right. And if you don't know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not just Marvel movies, just Marvel movies. It is a select number of them. There's been 22 of them now that Endgame has come out. It is all the ones that are in the continuity of like the Avengers.
And does this also MCU technically also includes the TV shows too, right?
Yes.
All right.
It also includes the TV shows, like the Netflix ones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that kind of stuff. Which they didn't really... They did ask a little bit about the Netflix shows.
All right.
But then... So the MCU does not include stuff like Venom.
Yeah.
Or X-Men or Fantastic Four.
At least not yet.
I'm talking the movies that have been made.
Yeah.
So MCU doesn't include like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but it does include Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yep.
So there are certain ones. This isn't just every Marvel thing.
Yeah.
And in the description, when like in the advertisement for this trivia contest, they even said, "This is for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. the selected, like, these
22,
movies.
yeah.
This will not be for all Marvel movies. Guess what half of the questions were?
Just Marvel Comics.
No, it was like, in Logan, during this, and I'm like, you said that this wasn't on there. You said that this is... I understand that whoever makes these questions, that's tough, because a lot of people don't know the difference between just, like, general Marvel or, like, Sony Marvel movies or Fox Marvel movies versus...
Something you should know as a trivia person, though. That's exactly what you should know.
You'd think.
I would think, at least.
You'd think. So half of the questions were about, like... There was a question about Blade, which I haven't seen Blade in forever, and
I might know the answer.
I'll ask you.
All right.
How did Blade become half vampire?
I believe his mother was a human, and his father was a vampire?
No.
Or was it that he was...
It's kind of... You're close.
Was she bitten during giving birth or something?
She was bitten while pregnant.
Okay.
I guessed on that one, and I got it right. I just kind of said... I wrote one parent was vampire or something like that,
Yeah.
and I got it right. So
Even
that was
even
that
if
was close
wasn't
enough.
right,
I also did one. I did this on the Game of Thrones trivia too. If I'm like a little iffy on the spelling, but not where it's like 2 L's or 2 T's or something where it doesn't matter. But one of the questions was, and this was a good question: what is the name of the prison in Guardians of the Galaxy 1? And it was the Kiln.
Okay.
But I wasn't positive it was Kiln or Kilm.
Uh,
That was like mostly positive it was N, Kiln.
yeah.
So I wrote Kiln, and then after the N, I kind of put like another line, but I made the N like heavier with like my pen.
That way it was like both answers.
Exactly. I did that too, which is... Maybe that's cheating. I don't know. But I did that also with... there was a... Like, name this person's daughter in Game of Thrones. And it was like either Nyeen or Tyene. So I made an N kind of like where you could maybe think it was a T. Trust me, it took a
You're
little...
making up a new language just to answer these questions?
It took a little craftsmanship, I'm not going to lie. But I got that one right, too. So either way.
I heard you also had a different question in this Marvel trivia that was not quite Marvel at all.
Yeah. So most of the questions, about half of them were actually Marvel Cinematic Universe related. And I'll get into the ones that I contested, because this lady also didn't... We'll get into that in a little bit. So there was questions about Fantastic Four. There was questions about Amazing Spider-Man, stuff that wasn't MCU, stuff that shouldn't have been there. And then there was a question about Batman. And it's just like, what the... Who made this?
I feel like it was just like a pool of questions that they have, and then like maybe like a handful of them was like hashtagged Marvel, and they're like, here, these ones work, even if it wasn't like...
And everyone like in the entire place was like, what the hell? Like when she asked this question or whatever. And her response was just always like, it's on my notes. It's on my notes.
I'm just the quiz master. I didn't make the rules.
Yeah, the quiz master. You should be... I understand that running this business is probably pretty tough, because you have to have the people who are going to go do this. And every month there's a new topic, and you're expecting these people to kind of be experts on it. But that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And we're paying for this. And I think what it is right now is everyone puts in $5.
Okay.
And then they put most of that money back as the prize money. Because the prize money is always kind of different. Oh. And it's not like an even number always. Like today it was $105.
Okay. So it's probably based on teams then.
Right. So I think like she probably keeps half the money, and then... Because there was a lot of people that... 42 ALS was full.
Okay.
And the only 2 teams where there was only one person were me and the guy next to me.
Okay.
Everyone else was in a huge team. The team that won, I think, had like 7 people. The team that came in second had 9 people. And I'm not ripping on them. I'm not saying like, oh, I would have won if I had a bigger team. Maybe. But it was my choice to go solo.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was their choice to be smart and have a huge team.
Yeah.
So I'm not hating on them. I do think I was the smartest person there. So either way, they were asking questions that just shouldn't have been asked. And then when it came to like the accuracy of the actual answers,
Yeah.
I had some serious problems.
And you proved some of them wrong, you said.
One of the ones, this one was really weird, and I actually got this one, like I contested it and got it right. And it was another one that was kind of like a little, I don't say bending of the rules, because I didn't lie. I told the truth. But I definitely, this one, if it would have went the other way, I wouldn't have been that mad.
Okay.
I would have, but I wouldn't have been that mad. I kind of like, okay, I guess. But the next one I'm going to talk about, I'm pissed that I didn't get, because I definitely should have.
All right.
But the question was, name an actor who plays both the main villain and a hero in Marvel movies.
All right.
Do you know?
Well, I was gonna say whoever play. I can't think of who plays Bucky. That's what I was gonna suggest. Is one of an option?
I'm talking like two different characters.
Oh,
like not someone who is bad who turns good. Like
okay. No, I don't know offhand. Then
the answer they were looking for was Michael B. Jordan, who played Human Torch and Killmonger.
That's right. I did remember that. No.
So, but then I guess there was another person, who was a accepted answer.
Some like side character or something, or
I don't know. But then I wrote down Peter Dinklage, Tyrion Lannister, like the little person, because he is the main villain in X-Men: Days of Future Past, and he plays Idri, the King of the Dwarves, in Avengers: Infinity War.
Yeah.
Now I went up there,
and if they're including every Marvel movie, then yeah,
that makes as much sense, because if you look at the answer that she gave, that wasn't MCU. Mm-hmm. Fantastic Four's not MCU, so I went outside the MCU. I followed the same rules that she did. And she goes, do you consider him a hero? And the guy next to me, who is a real piece of shit, to be honest.
And this fuck bag next to me.
He was, and like, I'm up there and I'm like, she goes, is he a hero? She's like, I'm not sure about that. I go, of course he's a hero. He's the king of the dwarves. He forged Thor's axe, Stormbreaker, and the Infinity Gauntlet. If that's not a hero, who is?
And he forged Mjolnir, not in the movies. You don't see it, but he did.
So do I actually think he's like a hero of the movies? No, but I put up a good argument. I guess hero's a loose term.
He was a necessary part, especially in Infinity War, more than anything else.
I think I should have got that point, and I did. And then so the guy next to me was like trying to convince her not to give me the point.
Yeah.
And then some other guy came up to me and was like, how'd you get an extra point? And I'm like, because I argued this. And he's like, no way. And then he goes up, a totally different dude, also scumbag, to the later. And he's like pointing at me, saying like, he shouldn't get that point because, I'm just like, dude, chill. Like, if you have a problem with yours, go do that.
Funny enough that you found another answer that you think is applicable based on the rules they were making for it, and then and you're catching flack for it.
I don't know. And then he's like, he's not a hero. He's just a dwarf. Dude, get out of here. Get a life.
He's not a main character, but a known character in the movie, and it's hard to be a main character in Infinity War.
Right. Captain America wasn't even a main character.
There's a lot of them in it, so you can't they weren't the star of the film, so they're not a hero or something. That's also, look at Fantastic Four too. I haven't seen that newer one that has him in it, but
except the main chick.
Is he? I mean, he's obviously on the team of four, but he's not the main character of it.
No, that's definitely like Mr. Fantastic.
Part of the titular team, I guess. But
right. So I don't know. It was really weird. The one that I contested that I just kept bringing up proof after proof that I was right. Was also one guy was trying to get everyone's points taken away from them.
Oh yeah.
Because the first question of the whole night was, how does Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy control the arrow?
Mentally?
And everyone said by whistling. And then this guy was up there, he's like, it's whistling and he needs the mohawk.
That's a really simplified thing for the mental connection adapter thing.
He's like, and he needs the mohawk. So if they didn't write mohawk, everyone should lose that point. And she's like, the answer is whistling. And then he's up there, he's like, no, everyone should get 1 point taken away. And if they didn't write mohawk, and she's just like, this is the answer, and I'm sticking with it.
It feels like one of those answers where it's too generalized a question, because he does command it by whistling, However, I agree with the dude that it's not as simple as whistling. Like it's not that if he didn't have the Mohawk device, he could control it basically. So I get that, but if he does use whistling to command it,
If
that's the connection, but he still whistles to command it. So I
Right.
get kind of both answers, but
I like her for standing up and saying like, no, that's I'm not going to let you dictate how the trivia night goes. The one that I had a really big problem with is how many years was Captain America under ice for?
isn't it generalized as 50? It might be more than that, but or is it 70?
She said the answer is 70.
Okay.
It's not though. Now they say 70 a few times in the movies,
Yeah.
but they're rounding up.
Okay.
It's kind of like saying like, oh, a century ago. You're not saying exactly 100. You're
Yeah.
just kind of saying a clean number.
Yeah.
Might be 93, might be 104, whatever. But it's definitely either 66 or 67 years.
Okay.
That, I don't know how anyone could debate against that. It's one of those two numbers. And, remind me, say something about Star Wars after this.
Uh-oh.
It's like in Marvel. Another bad question. Another badly written one. And she, at the end of Captain America 1, Nick Fury goes to him and goes, "You've been asleep, Cap, for nearly 70 years."
Okay, yeah.
And then like a few times, like later on in movies, they're like, yeah, you were asleep for 70 years. But they're kind of saying like,
Because they're still generalizing it as
they're saying, I wasn't keeping track, but you're asleep for around 70 years.
yeah.
But here's just as easy as it is. He crashed the plane in 45. He woke up the movie came out in 2011. But then, so that would mean 66. But then a tie-in collector's guide said that he woke up like 3 months before the start of Avengers. Avengers came out in 2012. So, and they come out in the year that they take place.
I could see how that's 66 years and 8 months or something, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
so that's why it could be that's why that round up to 67 might be it then. But 66 would be acceptable because you're in the 66th year of him being under ice. So maybe
Yeah.
then
Who knows?
that's mine.
And it also depends in what month in 2000 or not 2000, in 1945 he.
that he if you want to be specific.
We don't know these things.
How many minutes too?
So, so it's a bad question. And I was like, I put up a pretty good argument. I said, I understand you accepting the answer 70. I think it's wrong, but
Some
they do
characters
say
say it.
70 a few times. So I think it's wrong, but I think you should still accept it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying take the points away. Because at first she's like, I'm not taking the points. I'm not saying to do what that guy wanted with the fucking Mohawk. I'm not
saying
saying
to
that.
also accept.
I'm saying this is why this is actually the right answer. And I go, what they're saying is nearly 70. Here's a video of Nick Fury saying nearly 70. Not 70.
Nearly.
And then I'm like, he woke up at this time. He fell asleep at this time. That's either 66 or 67 years. And she goes, and she's just like, I'll check my notes. Didn't give it to me. And then another, just to show you, it was multiple choice. Which one of these things was not on Captain America's to-do list in Winter Soldier?
Okay.
Remember, like Falcon told him listen to like a Marvin Gaye album.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll put it on the list, and he writes it down. One of these things is not on there, and one of the things was Star Wars.
Okay.
But on the list, which I know because I looked at it, I studied it, it says Star Wars, but then the word wars is crossed out and Trek is written afterwards.
Oh.
So is Star Wars on the list?
Or was it both and he crossed off Star Wars?
What I'm imagining happened is someone said Star Wars, and then another person was like, let me see your list. Oh, you don't want to see Star Wars, you want to see Star Trek.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool. But then, if someone who actually knew what they were talking about was making this trivia, they wouldn't have put that on there.
To even worry about confusion. Yeah.
Why are there questions where there's like gray area? The questions should be like really easy. Like a good question. What was Hawkeye's first movie appearance?
The bonus appearance in Thor, right?
Yes.
The end of Thor, yeah. Or the bonus scene rather.
No, he's actually near the beginning.
Was it in the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. I just remember the.
He's in Thor, though. You're right.
All right.
So that's a clean answer. That's a question that should be on there.
Yeah.
It's kind of the one that you don't think of. He's only in the movie for like 30 seconds, but that's a good question.
Yeah.
Name the 6 Infinity Stones. That's a good question. Name something that's on this list, but the list has like crosses on it, and do you count it or not? I don't know. So I asked her, I explained it, and she basically just said, keep what I had. Because the other answers were like moon landing, Star Wars, something else that I knew was on the list, and then tanning beds.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure tanning beds was not on there, but I want to be sure because the Star Wars thing is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And she basically just said, keep what you have. Like telling me that I had the question right. But it shouldn't have even came to that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But like the Captain America one could have easily been exactly how many years was Captain America actually under the ice, not how many years was he under there. Because then people would question, wait, is it actually 70? Or, hey, you're right, that's the exact amount of years. Like,
I don't know. I didn't like it. And she didn't know what she was talking about. So it was just, I came in, I tied for 6th place.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad. But there was also like 20 teams.
Yeah.
And I hate when teams who are in the back win.
Oh.
And also the guy next to me was on his phone like the whole time. And if he's on his phone the whole time, now I actually kind of creeped and was like making sure he wasn't looking up answers. He wasn't. He was like texting. I guess maybe someone was texting him the answers. But he wasn't like on Google.
Someone in back.
There's no, like she didn't do any laps. Someone in the back who just went.
This is the answer. Apparently, they might have got some of them wrong. So, if they didn't have the right answers in the notes,
and just once again to tell you how little clue this lady who ran it had, when she's reading the winning team, she's like, the winning team has 82 points. My sheet here says that you can only get 75. I'm like, what are you talking? It's just really stressful because, like, I don't think the only MCU questions I got wrong were the 70 years, and I couldn't think of. They said like name the 4 actors who played the Hulk in the last 30 years.
Okay.
Do it.
So Mark Ruffalo.
Boom.
I can't think of the other dude's name. I can think of his face. I can think of both their faces. I can't think of their names for the other 2 that I know. But yeah, I can't think of. I'm assuming the 4th one is the one from like a
way back.
Yeah.
Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, okay.
Was
original.
The one where it actually would change actors and he just
he
paint him
is
green.
The Hulk. Yeah.
Right. And she specified, she goes, not Bruce Banner, the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
So that would tell you it's Lou Ferrigno and not the guy who actually played Bruce Banner.
Also, was he the show though? Or was there a show for the Hulk? Mm-hmm. Was he in the TV show?
Yeah.
And was there a movie that he was in?
I think he was in a movie too.
Okay, because I was going to say, like, that kind of really starts to dance on the cinematic universe. Like, I mean, TV shows are included in MCU, but
this should not be. This is not MCU.
Yeah.
But Eric Bana
okay, yeah.
was the 2002 Hulk. And then the 2007 one, I couldn't remember his last name, Edward Norton.
Yeah, there we go.
I could not think of Norton.
I remember both their faces. I couldn't think of
Fight Club.
Edward Norton is the one that I should have remembered the name of, but
I'm sitting there and I'm like, I didn't want to trade my sheet with the guy next to me because I'm like, I know this guy's name. I think those are the only 2 that I got wrong. If it was an actual MCU question.
Yeah.
All the other ones I got wrong were like stuff that shouldn't have been on there.
Yeah.
And maybe I sound like a sore loser, but they specified this is MCU.
Well, you're right. If it's not MCU, then why was it on there?
That's like a Star Wars question, Star Wars trivia, and then asking a question about Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's I hate it.
Or like the other trivia you had where they started asking about IMDb rankings for the episodes.
Stupid.
I was like, how is that part of the episodes though?
I don't know. I understand that making these, if you're not like really passionate about Marvel, would probably be pretty tough. But I guess if you're going to be in charge of it, maybe it is tough, and maybe you should be in charge of that. Who knows? I should have won, and I probably sound like a sore loser. Whatever. Don't care.
I should have fucking won.
Who knows? let's actually talk a little bit about
Endgame.
Endgame. First of all, is it the best Marvel movie? I'm asking you. Is it up there? Is it not up there?
When you say you, do you mean me? I think you're looking at me. I couldn't really tell with the glasses. Hey.
You.
Um.
Brandon M. Clemmer.
Oh, best one.
General ranking. We'll actually break stuff down. But is it up there?
I was telling people 10 out of 10 because I couldn't really find anything that was wrong enough with it that was like, I don't want to see it because something is wrong with it. So maybe 10 out of 10 is a little kind of generalizing for it. But it was definitely up there as a good one no matter what.
Right.
They made it a good ride. They made it so nothing you saw on trailers like gave away too much. We had hints of like, hey, what could be the possibilities of what they're going to do in this to solve it. But we didn't know for sure. Yeah, this trailer gave this away, and so we definitely knew it had to be this. And they definitely did it in a way that works, even if it was kind of a catch-all solution for what they did. For like, magic is the binder that made time okay once they put the stones back in, et cetera.
I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah,
But
but
that kind of gets into some weird stuff. But.
so I definitely say that even if there was moments of anything that was bad or not good, I would say it was definitely still really good.
I think it was really good.
Really good.
It's up towards the top tier of the list of like most enjoyable
Okay.
Marvel movies, like as in like my favorite. But I don't think anything can beat if we're actually talking like what is the best, like best made movie, because I think that's actually two different questions. Like what is your favorite, but also what is the best one?
Okay.
There's some overlap, obviously, but I don't think that's necessarily the same question. I still think like Winter Soldier is a better movie.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about like what made me the happiest, this might be the best one.
Yeah.
Or my favorite one, better.
There's callbacks to enough things. It was enough. You can only have that many characters culminate into one movie so nicely, and I don't think they could have done much of a better job.
No, it was near perfect, and this was like a ton of fan service.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you really pay attention.
That elevator scene.
Oh, the best. That was my favorite part of the movie.
I was expecting the fight again, and then
Someone asked me today, the guy next to me, he goes like, "What'd you think of Endgame?" And I'm like, "I really liked it." He's like, "What's your favorite part?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the elevator scene. I was expecting another fight, but then just Hail Hydra," and he just walks out with the scepter. That was
another thing too. The original scene in Winter
Soldier.
Soldier that wasn't in that building though, was it? Was it in Avengers
No,
Tower?
no.
Yeah. So it was just kind of weird to me. I was like, how did they find themselves in like the same elevator with like they weren't the same characters on there, all of them, but wasn't one of them the same?
Two of them,
Okay.
pretty close.
That's why I was like, how did they find themselves in the same elevator though? I was like, I know it was a different movie and a different like time that the Winter Soldier one happened, but I don't remember it happening in Avengers Tower.
Right.
But whatever.
No, I thought like the cameos, which there were a ton of.
Oh yeah.
Were done really well because they belonged.
And some of them surprising too, with like Natalie Portman.
She actually didn't come back.
She was in it though at all,
Yeah.
even if she wasn't.
But then
reacting in it.
them bringing the guys in the elevator back, like
Yeah.
Strike Squad, and then like the other, what's his name? The Asian guy who's Hydra,
Yeah.
Jasper Sitwell,
And all the other agents
Right,
that were
the
higher
two-
up in things and you don't really see too often. Or
Brock Rumlow, and the other guy Romanoff, not Romanoff, whatever.
Natasha Romanoff.
Who the other guy? Who cares? And then they brought like Robert Redford back
Yeah.
as like the head of Shield, but also Hydra. And he was only in there for like maybe 15 seconds, but
Yeah.
him being there makes sense.
Yeah.
So all these cameos, they weren't like they didn't overstay, and they all made sense in continuity. Like Loki being there made sense.
And it was cool to see some of the other scenes that we've seen in other movies from
a different angle.
not behind the scenes, but kind
Kinda.
of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Technically.
I think it was really cool.
That's America's ass.
So if you're actually talking about like, did they have to go and jump around in time and like do all these like weird things? I think it was a lot more like fan service.
Yeah.
And so someone who isn't a super fan like me or you would probably be like, what the hell is all this? Like, it's maybe not that self-contained of a thing.
Yeah.
But this is your reward for being that invested in
Oh, yeah.
22 movies in 11 years. So for me, all those behind the scenes from different angle things, all these like weird callbacks. I even the first time I I saw it, I quoted Bucky, like something he said, and Alex looks at me and she's like, "What?" Because I quoted it as he said something.
Yeah.
But he was actually quoting Steve from Captain America 1.
Don't-
so as soon as he don't do
anything stupid or
how can I? You're taking all the stupid with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And so when Captain America says, "Don't do anything stupid," and then when Bucky starts talking, I said it, and then she's just like, "What?" Like, have you seen this movie before? No, but like I know these quotes, and I should have won that contest.
I liked I saw another video that basically said that it's the only tagline that Captain America really has is "I could do this all day" because he says it often enough, and he says it to himself when he's fighting himself
Right.
for a second, and he's just like, "Come on."
And then like how he beats his old self, he tells him that Bucky's alive because
he's like,
that's
"What?"
what like because that's what Crossbones said to him in Captain America 3, and it totally made him stop.
Yeah,
So like he learned that old him like gets freaked out if he talks about Bucky.
yeah. It's his only like kryptonite. Oh,
Right. Ooh. That's DC actually, not Marvel.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It did trip me out at first whenever they were trying to introduce how Thanos found out about their plan because of Nebula's weird memory thing. They did explain it though in the movie, which made it okay, even though it's a little far fetched.
They're on the same network or something.
Yeah, they made it like basically she uploads to a cloud is what they kind of
Right.
like tried to say, and I was like, okay, I guess at least they explained it. But I was like, why would she need a remote network server because she has a bionic implant in her brain?
Right.
I was like, okay, whatever. But at first, I thought they were trying to say that because there was two over there, all of a sudden her mind started converging, and I was like, just because she's digital, that doesn't make sense for the rules they set in place, or else other people's minds would start like, why do I have these
Right.
memories that I shouldn't have? But then they said, oh, because her future self was trying to sync with her old self's network,
Cloud, yeah.
wireless network, basically. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes more sense, but it's still kind of fucked up a little bit.
Definitely a little bit.
But
They needed that for the plot. I
Yeah.
get it. This movie definitely takes a few jumps in logic.
and she does an R2D2 where she just starts projecting a memory and like,
Yeah.
how what?
Like that. Some of the time travel stuff. I mean, they don't use Back to the Future. They talk about that. They don't use Terminator because that's kind of ink is already dry. Like whatever happened
Yeah,
has already happened. So if you go back in time, you were always back there. So they don't use that logic. They actually use kind of Dragon Ball Z time travel.
yeah. Yeah, Trunks they were calling, yeah.
Yeah, so if you go back in time, you actually create a different divergence. And then they kind of explained it where if you put the stone back, then that timeline
Collapses and reconverges.
reconverges. So then that timeline just never even happened.
Yeah.
So the timeline where Loki picks up the Tesseract and teleports away, that actually just straight up didn't happen.
See, what I took it as one of two ways. With Loki and or Old Cap, I took it as either that other timeline never happened. So in the case of Cap, that means he would have had to like come back to the main timeline after however 70 years that he wanted to like wait around or something. Whatever
67.
whatever he wanted to do. Well, it might have been 70 at that point though.
Get out of here.
But what I took it as is like I said before, the magic was the catch-all that recombined timelines. So because he returned the stones and then stayed in the past,
Well,
that's why he stayed into a converged timeline and then was in the main one still without having to travel back.
I think maybe that's right. I don't think they really explained it. But here's what I think actually happened. The big problem I had when leaving was how did Captain America, because they even said you can't like use Back to the Future time travel rules. So when he went at the very end, we've been talking spoilers, and spoilers is in the title, so spoiler alert, obviously. When Captain America went back in time and then just stayed there, he must have, this kind of gets a little dicey, he must have not returned one of the stones in one of the timelines. He must have went back to 45, took a stone from then, and then was living in an alternate reality with alternate Peggy
Yeah.
for
However long.
X amount of years, 70 plus years. And then when she died and it was time for him to come back, he returns the stone.
And then ends up in the main
and then would have had to time traveled back out to our reality. We don't see him pop back out of the machine.
Yeah.
He almost would have had to have done it before.
Yeah.
And then just kind of snuck over there. Probably told Bucky, hey, by the way, when I go in there, I'm going to decide to stay. And then, because it's pretty clear Bucky knew what was happening. Like when he said, hey, don't take all this stupid with you, whatever the quote is. Bucky kind of knew. And then Bucky also knew that Falcon was like, he was going to give him the shield.
Yeah.
So he wasn't living in our timeline with this Peggy, because that would have changed so many things.
And her daughter.
Yes.
That was the
Aunt.
biggest thing, yeah.
Aunt.
Oh.
Or niece.
Oh, okay, niece.
Yeah.
The reason I say that it's a possibility that because the stones were returned, that maybe it converged things magically. Like I said, magic is the catch-all there. I didn't know if that left room open for Loki being somewhere because an alternate version of him escaped. But as long as they brought the stones back and that alternate version went off somewhere else and didn't die, he could be magically back. But then that means that the events with Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War where he died didn't happen or shouldn't have happened. But magic could have made it so now there's two Lokis and one of them's dead.
Yeah, it gets really dicey. I think how I think of it is all those other timelines basically just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And you still remember things that happened in them, but in our timeline, there's only one, and those timelines then collapsed back into the regular one. Captain America lived in an alternate one with Peggy, and then returned the stone, collapsed it, came back, waited on the edge of the thing as a 100-and-some-year-old dude, and
some super serum.
For real. And that's it. What do you think about them killing Iron Man? I did not see that coming. I know everyone did, and everyone was predicting Iron Man was going to die. I was 100% wrong.
I didn't make any for sure predictions about that because I knew there was going to be some deaths. I just didn't know where, so I just didn't even really bother speculating which one was more possible. I didn't see it coming more so because of fucking, why can't I think of his name? Captain America, Chris Evans. Chris Evans. Him making that tweet that was kind of final, kind of saying that he's not gonna like be in it anymore. He's done, kind of thing. So I figured, okay, so he'll be sacrificed somewhere, which means maybe Tony Stark wouldn't be. I figured Tony Stark was still gonna retire and still time. Be like a force in the background, but not really like there. But so for him to actually die, straight up die, is weird. Then
I actually kind of agree with it.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
This was his story. Him against Thanos. That was his journey, his thing. He started the whole thing. For him to finish like that, I predicted that him and Captain America were going to be the ones on Vormir to get the Soul Stone. And Captain America was actually going to... I even predicted that they were both going to try to kill themselves, kind of like what Black Widow and Hawkeye did.
Yeah.
And Captain America would like kind of beat him and then kill himself. So I actually kind of predicted that.
In their camaraderie, like...
Yeah. But then again, they didn't necessarily love each other. They respected each other.
By the way, we were told to stop ignoring the comments. We have a few.
That's all you.
I looked at a few of them, but we were talking. I'm sorry. So to go back and look at them really quick. One, Game of Thrones was a little anticlimactic, but I liked it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if
we're going to do Game of Thrones
more during
probably
the week.
Tuesday. We just want to give everyone time to watch it.
But then they continued. Zach says one of his favorite Marvel movies. I'm sorry, Zach. I said 10 out of 10. I told you I was kind of generalizing it. Maybe it's 9 out of 10, but it was still, it's
up there.
It's out of regular. You can't do an out of 10 nicely unless you're. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe you can, but I do agree that the rat was a little. That's what I said by the first time I saw it. I didn't know if the rat was actually just by consequence because I couldn't tell if the rat pressed buttons.
Context. The rat that just
in Ant-Man or the rat for that pressed the buttons on Ant-Man's van and brought him back.
The only reason I don't hate that much is when Ant-Man did go into the quantum tunnel and he was about to get taken out. We can assume that they had all the settings set and they were just going to press a button to bring him back. because with 2 seconds to go, then they got dusted.
For me, it was just confusing. I couldn't tell the rat was pressing buttons. Even he was just by chance on the dashboard. And then the bigger thing though is, why was there buttons on like under like the front window? They weren't like in the back of the controls.
Yeah,
it was like the van's like I said, like dashboard where like there shouldn't be buttons.
Who knows?
Emergency buttons there.
They had to get them out. Like I said, the movie, as an actual film, has a few issues, but if we're talking just enjoyment, it's up there.
And no, Thanos doesn't even eat ass. I mean, maybe he does.
What?
Thanos doesn't even eat ass.
I can't read.
Oh, sorry. Everyone should eat ass. I don't know if everyone should. I think that's kind of just. It's up to you. And then Gordon's vodka, Nikolai.
I'm actually drinking chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk vodka? Isn't that Bailey's?
No, that's just normal.
No, I'm saying
Walmart.
if it was vodka chocolate milk.
Yeah, just Walmart brand chocolate milk.
Okay.
Turn it up over here.
Thank you, Zach. Well, that's all the comments. Never look at them again.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I was predicting Captain America would die, and not necessarily that Hulk would die, but Hulk would separate. Bruce Banner and Hulk would like either cure himself,
Okay.
or I knew he was going to become Professor Hulk this movie, where he's like the unison of the two.
That we saw a lot because of he was the promo photos of him and like for the action figures and stuff. Yeah.
So we definitely knew that. I was predicting he would get like cured, or like the two would actually like physically separate, which happens in the comics. And then that would be a nice closing for him. I did not expect Black Widow to die.
I didn't expect that either. I kind of expected Hawkeye more than her.
I didn't think he would, because I don't think they're gonna. I guess they did, but I didn't think they were gonna kill him just because like he had a full family.
It makes sense at that moment in time, though. I wasn't thinking about his family because I was thinking, well, they're gone, so of course he's willing to sacrifice. But then, like, oh, but if they come back,
Right.
then it makes sense.
Without Daddy.
Yeah.
But then my
Oops.
theory of like they wouldn't kill someone who has a family. They killed Iron Man.
Yeah.
He had a family.
Just started a family.
Right. So I Hawkeye was pretty low on my death predictions. Thor was pretty low on it just because his movie is pretty recent and made a ton of money. And I'm kind of looking forward to him being in Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
Yeah.
which should be
Oh, yeah.
pretty cool.
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Boom. Yeah. But I definitely was not expecting Iron Man. I thought that was going to be too predictable, but it was handled very well, and I liked it.
They definitely left some confusing things with like Gamora now. Like she might rejoin Guardians of the Galaxy if they find her, but they also still have to like re-friend her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool though that at least she knows from the future Nebula that like, okay, apparently I did do all this, and I could see that in myself a little bit. So I guess, you know, as long as you tell me this is what happened, I guess I'll go with it.
Now Nebula is with Gamora now.
Yeah.
They were not on the Milano,
No.
the Guardian ship.
No. At least not in the end scene.
Right. So maybe she was telling her everything, but then maybe that Gamora is going to like reject it. Like I'm sure if 5 years in the future Nikolai came and said like, "Hey, these are all the things that you like and do," I'd be like, "Pass, swerve."
I think she might reject some of it, but it did seem that she was accepting enough of it to help her stop Thanos and the other Nebula that she did Nebula and the other Nebula that she did know a little bit more because she was the real one to her, quote unquote. You know,
Right.
That was stressful whenever Nebula was the other Nebula. Nebula went back, and it was like, oh no.
Hawkeye should have just shot her. He
Yeah.
was totally on the side. He could, boop. Like, why didn't he? He's just sitting there like watching these like sisters and a clone or whatever duplicate. He could have just. They were on some standoff. Dude, just shoot her in the face.
Yeah, like I'm sure the new one's not gonna care.
No, the new one did it to her. Like,
Yeah.
Fuck her, kill her. Who knows? What else happened? What else was big that we could talk?
Everything might have been me.
It might have been. What do we have for time?
We've been streaming for 45 minutes approximately.
Okay. We'll kind of talk about the future of the MCU real quick, maybe 5 minutes. And then we'll log off. I don't like these episodes too long, but we also haven't done one in a while.
Bonus 10 minutes.
This one big issue I see future movies having because of this movie is when they reverted the snap, they didn't all go back in time. The people who got snapped came to this time. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so Peter Parker didn't age.
Mm-hmm.
he got snapped, and then he came in his consciousness. His body went away, and then it was just back.
Yeah. When I got all dusty and everything.
Yep. So imagine this. There's twins. Same birthday, same day, everything. One of them gets snapped. 5 years later, one of them is now, they're both 15 now, one of them's 20. One of them comes back. They're born the same day, but now they're 5 years apart.
Yeah.
When Spider-Man goes to school, half of his class assumingly kept going to school, kept aging. So now people who were born the same year as him are 5 years older. So that means, like, in Spider-Man Home or Far From Home, are we to assume that everyone who was in the first one, who's now in this one, who's the same age as him,
Was snapped, yeah.
that's kind of coincidental. That's kind of convenient.
It was speculated that the only that maybe the ones that are for sure snapped were the ones that were part of his like main friend group. So is it Ned? Is the guy at the computer Ned? And MJ and then maybe some of the other ones
like Flash Thompson.
Yeah, Flash and the other
that's
characters.
Just very
that are
convenient that everyone,
if they are,
and I feel that going forward, every movie has to address the snap.
Yeah.
Or the decimation, you want to call it. That has to affect everything kind of forever.
Yeah.
That's the biggest event in galactic history.
Oh yeah.
For this reality of movies.
On top of that too now, they might vow to not use it unless needed, but they know that they can time travel now.
No.
Without more Pym particles? They could come back though. They have Hank Pym back now.
You're right.
So it's more of a we have to agree to do this again if we need to, but they could go back and talk to Tony Stark again if they need to, talk to someone else again, find something else again if they need to. They're probably not going to until another 10 years from now if they're, whatever other culmination movie they find where they might need to, but
they always can time
now
travel.
that power's there, it's not gone until they make it gone.
That gets tricky.
Another thing that was missing, that I believe was missing and could have been brought up, there might be more Pym particles that they forgot about, because what happened to the lab? The lab that downsizes into a briefcase?
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't destroyed. They got it back at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? And they were in control of it. And then, hey, let's try this experiment now where they went on the rooftop and threw Ant-Man into the quantum realm. And they're about to pull him out, and they didn't. But then they're like, oh, we don't have any more Pym particles besides the one that he had on his suit. But I was like, where's the lab that might have had a lot more, though?
He had enough for everyone to make one jump and 2 test runs. One of them he wasted.
Yep. I think that was all just what was in his suit, though. I don't think that's that he found a reserve of them in the lab or something.
I don't think he said where he got them from.
That's possible. I took it as that's what he had in his suit, to do more than just one jump by himself or something.
That's a good point. In my head, in my own little head canon where I can sleep at night, I'm going to say they did have the lab, and that's what was in the lab.
Okay.
But that's probably not factual. They probably just didn't explain it, and for plot convenience, they just said, hey, this just happens to be what we have.
Yeah.
Maybe it was stuff in his suit. I guess we don't know. We'll probably never know.
That or he just completely forgot about it, because...
Yeah, the directors probably don't even know.
Yeah.
They're probably just like, hey, this is the plot.
Yeah.
We don't have any extra.
And it's gone.
Right. Yeah, couldn't technically they have just kept going back to 45
and kept getting more? Yeah, they could have
back to normal and like grabbing 5 vials, but only using 1 to get there, so you're netting 4 each time.
45 or other time periods where there were other Pym particles in safe times too.
Right. Pretty convenient too. Back in not 45, 1970.
There you go.
When they're at that base
and both were there.
That those Pym particles were using the same container.
Yeah, that too.
That they were using in 2000.
And that they were good enough for work the way they did.
But then the same vials that they're using in current times.
Yeah.
Like that these old, like 40-some-year-old, 50-something-year-old vials are the same vials that we're using now.
The same plugins.
Right, same USB adapter. No, I feel every movie is going to have to kind of address that, and it's going to kind of mess a lot of things up. But oh well, this is more of a... You could kind of pick this movie apart. Any movie with time travel, I think you can really pick apart and be like, hey, this doesn't really make that much sense.
Yeah. Magic.
Because time travel really just doesn't make that much sense. I think the only time travel method that does make some sort of sense is Terminator logic.
Okay.
But this really, you got to just say magic. At some point, you can't explain it because it doesn't exist in our life. So you just kind of got to go magic.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. And kind of, I don't want to say shut your brain off because I like thinking about movies a lot. And you can think about this movie a lot. But you can pick a lot of things at this movie and say, hey, this doesn't really make that much sense here. This doesn't make that much sense here. But I think it was still really enjoyable. I actually didn't mind Captain Marvel in this one.
Yeah.
I didn't like her movie that much. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't anywhere near good.
I didn't like that I actually did forget she was in it, though, until she showed
The
back
end.
up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It didn't make sense to me. Let me just keep talking. Where they had her in the beginning, and then that 5 years passed, and then she was still like part of their defense
Cell phone calls,
force,
yeah.
whatever. And then they had this glimmer of hope to go back in time and do whatever, but they didn't tell her that. They didn't like send out, hey, PSA, we're gonna
Once
try
again,
this
yeah.
in case things get messed up, like,
She should have been on the team, but they wanted,
or at least more aware.
I think they wanted to have the OG Avengers doing it.
Yeah.
So it would have made sense for her to be on one of those teams, but they didn't want to make like this brand new character who's god tier,
Yeah.
because then everything would just be super simple. But she just does come in, and I didn't mind her. I don't mind her being overpowered. And here's my biggest problem with the movie, and this is probably going to sound me like ranting about anti-feminism stuff. Here we go.
Oh, the girl moment. Everyone had that too.
Oh my god.
I heard it from so many people.
I don't mind. I actually like so many of these female characters. Scarlet Witch, when she one-on-one Thanos, she was beating him. And you know what? She should be able to beat him. Her character is that strong.
Yeah, from what I remember hearing about her, yeah.
She's like stupidly overpowered. Good.
Yeah.
She has cool powers. I don't care that she's a woman. Good. I want good female characters. But then when they really force it, and like they have like this, all the women team up, and we're all gonna kick butt. Like they did that in the last one too.
Yeah.
Where it was like all the women fight a woman or woman.
That one, though, was better because it was more of accidental.
Yeah.
It was like by chance, here was Black Widow and whoever else,
That was
the other,
Okoye.
yeah, fighting off not the girl.
Proxima Midnight.
Proxima Midnight, there we go. And so it was just kind of like,
Who was
it made
there?
sense that it just happened naturally.
Yeah.
It was like a call to girl power things, but it wasn't, she's got back up, and by chance all the girls show up there, and it wasn't really natural. Then all of them show up.
It felt very unnatural in the movie. It felt very forced. Even Alex next to me, she even like after we saw the movie, she was like, that felt really forced. And she doesn't have the same social political views as I do, but she's like, that was really stupid.
That was the only like forced line. Even better, what made it even make less sense was that it was funny that Spider-Man gave her the thing, and he's like, well, good luck, not really knowing who she is anyways. Cool, because he gave it to Captain Marvel. But then on top of that too, she's very, very powerful, right? She wouldn't need the help of the other girls anyways. I was like, why does she need help to get to fly around when she just flew through a ship? She doesn't need help. And then, no, we got her back. That you didn't need to get her back. She was good. She's Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for that reason alone. And then that it was the weird, like, Powerpuff Girl moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Why not just, like, I don't want a scene where, like, all the men team up. Like manpower. Like, I don't want that. Have all the characters in there. I love all those female characters. Don't force it and like have it where like, have them all in there. Have them all have their scene. But it was kind of cringy. Didn't like it.
I think it just would have been a lot better if they just didn't introduce that every girl was gathering right there and didn't say, don't worry, she's got backup. And then it still could have happened. She could have been like, no, I got this. And then as she's going, all the girls start coming in and helping her. Fine. But because they had to like force address it, that was the bad part. Otherwise, it was fine that they were all there helping her. It's still a little forced, but not as forced as she's got backup, even though she doesn't need backup at all. And then by chance, it's all the girls.
It didn't ruin the movie at all for me,
No,
but I just kind of rolled my eyes like, okay, here we go. I know what's up. Either way,
They kept it quick at least.
That's true.
That was the good part about it. It was just that one scene, good, they're done. It's not, hey, the girl force for the rest of the movie now.
Yeah. Either way, I liked it. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up, and we're gonna hopefully do a Thought Patrol Game of Thoughts, whatever.
Game of Thoughts.
Thought of
Thought of
Thrones,
Games.
Some of that. Either way, I'm not sure what our title
Thought
is.
of Thrones.
But we're gonna have a Game of Thrones episode in the next few days, probably a morning, if I can wake up. But
Or if I stay awake. Either one.
either way, stay tuned, and we will see you real soon. God bless.
Oh.